For the first time in American history, the United States Senate is preparing to ratify a treaty during a lame duck session of Congress. The unprecedented vote on a new strategic arms reduction treaty between the US and Russia is expected to take place tomorrow. Many on the right have expressed anger at Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid's decision to allow defeated senators to vote on this measure. And others, like Senator John McCain, want changes made to the agreement, in particular to the preamble, which essentially allows Russia to opt out if the United States makes advancements to its missile defense systems. A group of unhappy GOP senators spoke with reporters earlier today in Washington. Let's take a look.
The Senate is not a rubber stamp. Not for the administration, not for Russia. And as one senator, I am not ready to stamp this treaty.
I think this is a monumental mistake by the United States Senate to ratify a treaty in the lame duck.
And it's clear with this treaty that they're trying to cram something else down the throats of the American people under the cover of Christmas with a Congress that's just been changed by the American people.
Despite the concerns of the senators you just heard from, it does appear that enough Republicans will vote in favor of the treaty when a final vote takes place. And joining me now is one of the GOP senators who attended today's press conference, Wyoming Senator John Barrasso. Senator, what is it that your colleagues in the Republican caucus don't get about this? The 9 Republicans who are going to give the president his supermajority on this treaty.
Well, every senator, when their name is called, has to either vote for or against in what's in the best interest of the United States. Our founding fathers set this up so that it would take a 2/3 vote of the United States Senate to assure the American people that the president got it right. And I am not convinced that this administration got it right. Do we need a treaty with Russia? Yes, but not this treaty. I think we should make some changes, and Senator McCain and I had an amendment that we fought for this weekend that fundamentally changes the preamble of this START treaty to take away our limits to defend ourselves.
Right.
I don't think that there's any place for that in this treaty.
And as you say, that's really nothing to do with the Russians. Why should the Russians have a veto on United States missile defense against Iran or Venezuela or North Korea or any other third party who wants to lob something our way? Why has that been allowed to get as far as it has got? And are you not reassured by the president's supposed letter to senators assuring you that there's nothing to worry about on that front?
Well, I'm not reassured because I believe that it doesn't matter what the generals or the president think that the preamble means, and they say it's not binding. I care what the Russians think it means, and they say that it is binding. And just today, the foreign minister of Russia warned the United States not to make any changes at all. Well, to me, I think we ought to make some changes, and that means sending it back to the Russians and have them then decide whether they want to accept or negotiate those changes. But the job of the Senate is to advise and consent, not to be a rubber stamp.
And there are some other features in this treaty that are disturbing too. For example, the bilateral commission does not seem something that is obviously in the United States' interest when it comes to something like missile defense, nor, for example, prohibitions on converting weaponry that is for offensive use to defensive use, to take something that would once have been a missile you'd fire at some other country and convert it into something that you can use for missile defense against an incoming missile. Why is this stuff the business of the Russians at all?
Well, I think it shouldn't be. I also think that we really missed the boat by not including issues of tactical nuclear weapons, where the Russians right now, for every 1 tactical nuclear weapon we have in the United States, they have 10. That's been left out completely. And, you know, Ronald Reagan used to say, trust but verify. We actually have less of an ability to verify now with this new treaty than we did with the old treaty. So we're relying much more on trust than we are on verifying. So for those reasons, tomorrow I'm going to vote against ratification of the START Treaty on the floor of the United States Senate.
Why have you been unable to persuade your colleagues, very eminent colleagues, someone like Senator Lugar, for example, Senator Alexander? These are people who have a reputation as strong conservatives, many of them. Why is it that they are providing the president with his supermajority on this?
Well, they can answer for themselves. They'll have to answer how they feel about the treaty when they vote tomorrow. Each senator has that obligation and responsibility. If they vote for the treaty, it means that they feel a level of comfort that there is adequate verification or there is adequate issues of missile defense by the president's letter. But I don't believe there is. I would rather make changes and send this back to the Russians and give them an opportunity to then think and decide and vote on it at that point. But I don't think that we should be rushed into something, let alone bullied by a Russian foreign minister who says and warns the United States no changes will be tolerated.
Just to go back to the historic point, though, you're not just being bullied by a Russian foreign minister, you're also being bullied by Harry Reid. Why is this the business of a lame duck Congress? Why, for the first time in history, is a major international treaty being passed by a Congress in the lame duck session in a couple of days before the end of the year and the arrival of a whole new Congress that has democratic legitimacy?
Senator Reid could have brought this up months ago. He chose not to, but now that we have duly elected new senators who will be coming to the Senate and get sworn in on January 5th, I think that he had an obligation to allow them to be sworn in and then to cast those votes. They are the elected senators chosen by the American people. 13 on the Republican side have all signed a letter to Senator Reid saying, please delay the vote and the discussion to January. We have things to say. We have input that we want to make. We've been traveling around our home states, running for office, have input from people, and we want to bring that voice to Washington and express that voice in terms of the START Treaty. So I think it was a mistake to go at this time when we have 13 new Republican senators, 3 new Democrat senators, and they're not being allowed to vote on the treaty.
Well, I hope that that argument on, I guess, constitutional seemliness has some sway over Senator Lugar and others. Thank you very much, Senator, and Merry Christmas to you.